Hello, I'm Amanda Rafuse, and this is Spark, the Upper Valley's new arts and culture program here on CATV. We're hoping to spark your interest in the arts by hosting one-on-one conversations that explore the depth and variety of culture here in the Upper Valley, to the amazing people who create and those who administrate, the artists who educate and the generous patrons who donate, the audiences, students, and consumers who enjoy and participate. Welcome to Spark. Hello and welcome to Spark. Today I have with me the phenomenal Jes Raymond, who is an award-winning singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, and artist. And when I say multi-instrumentalist, I mean guitar, banjo, ukulele, plus she sings. Pretty sure I saw one song where she was playing the trumpet, maybe. And she and her partner, Jakob, have been traveling the world making music together for 10 years. They're a powerful duet. They combine skillful flat picking and claw hammer banjo with fiddle and time-polished, beautiful harmonies. They're backed by a rotating cast of talented believers, as they are called, and sometimes they're on their own. They draw from a deep well of American roots music for a modern sound that they hope will truly stir the spirit with lighthearted rusticity and haunting elegance and just so much soul. One reviewer has said of the two of them, this modern acoustic group pairs a love for traditional genius with innovative instincts. The result is a fresh, cohesive catalog of music distinguished by a playful twang, artful arrangements, and tight, thick harmonies. I mean, that's quite a review. So currently, Jes and Jakob are living in Wilder, Vermont with their adorable 3-year-old son, and living in the Upper Valley is a return to Jes's roots. She and Jakob are working not only to make incredible music together, but to connect the creative collective of our Green Mountain River Valley and the world at large. They are the creators and producers of Here in the Valley, a truly, truly beautifully curated and produced live-streamed music and arts variety show. You can see episodes on their website and on their YouTube channel, which we, of course, will link to, as well as on the Here in the Valley YouTube channel. Their vision is a vibrantly healthy and wildly sustainable community based in the arts, a northern arts beacon on the Appalachian Trail. So I just want to point out that you can learn a lot about Jes at jesraymond.com, and you can learn about Here in the Valley at hereinthevalley.org, and of course on their YouTube channel, which we will link to. Jes, welcome to Spark.
Hi, thank you, Amanda. It's really great to see you.
It's so good to see you too, and so great to have you on the show. You know, I feel like you and I have, it's sort of a new connection that we've made, and I just really appreciate your vision for how the arts can create an identity for a place. So before we get into that though, I just would love to know a bit about the process of creating Here in the Valley. Just if you could describe the show and how it came to be and your vision for it.
Yeah, sure. So we started, Jakob and I have been imagining a kind of live theater radio show in the style of Prairie Home Companion or Mountain Stage or E-Town, some great public radio shows since we first met. Back in 2006. So we started that was our daydream. And, you know, we were always touring, and it's pretty hard to build that kind of thing when you're also moving around. Right. So it just wasn't happening. And then COVID put us in one place for quite a while. And we had the chance to really try to work on it. So yeah, it's a live show, but we also do, because of COVID, we started doing some pre-taping because we couldn't have artists in studio all at once. And so in order to reduce our numbers, we started bringing in people in smaller numbers and doing some taping there. And then that led to kind of this balance between the live elements of the show and what we collect in pre-tape, which will be, some can be other artists or small storytelling and video multimedia moments that we put together. And yeah, so that's as we move forward into the world, we envision it becoming more of a live experience, but we want to keep the multimedia and kind of vignettes of the Upper Valley as coming in as part of it also.
Yeah, I think what I love about it the most is that you have imbued it really with a sense of place. One of the episodes over the holidays, I think it was maybe February, where there are video clips of people skiing on ski trails, and just you really get a sense of where we are. And I think that's a really special and unique piece of this of the show. It's very cool.
I think that's a really important part of the vision to me. There's always I think Twyla Tharp calls it, you have parts of your piece that are visible to everyone, and other parts that are maybe just the spine, that you don't want to hammer everyone over the head with it, but it's what holds it together. And that is a big part of it for me, is that the landscape of our river valley be one of the characters of our exploration.
Yeah, the landscape and the people. I mean,
yeah, of course the people too.
Yeah.
But we're not ignoring the place.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to, if it's okay with you, I'd love to actually show just a little clip at this point from one of the Here in the Valley episodes. And so without further ado, here is a little portion of Here in the Valley.
If you are a dreamer, come in. If you are a dreamer, a wisher, a liar, a hoper, a prayer, a magic bean buyer, if you're a pretender, come sit by my fire, for we have some flax golden tales to spin. Come in, come in. Every town has a water tower. This roving love of ours, we hurry down the highway and pass them as we go. No time to stop and climb up, no time to look behind us. Just one red suitcase and my dancing board. Owls in the night, I called out the darkness. You found me with no light. It's a truth. That crystal ball said we'd skin our knees, but we stand up from the fall. We stand up after all.
Excellent. So it's just the coolest thing. I personally can't wait until this is live. I mean, it's live, but until we can actually be there in person and like participate together, because I know that that's a piece that you kind of can't replace, is that audience interaction piece.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's definitely missing right now. It's been painful, but even this last show, we had, I don't know, 10 people in the audience, and it made a big difference.
So different. It's so
Yeah.
different. Yeah, because you want people to come in and enjoy together, and you're performing out of the Briggs Opera House, and that's such an intimate space. So to really have that very, very specific connection between the artists and you can see everybody who's in that room when you're in there.
Yeah. So we're hoping to have a limited audience in the Briggs in June.
Oh, great.
And then we are hoping to do the show from the Lyman Park in September, so that it's an open air event in that one, and before we bring it back into and hopefully by October we're all feeling okay to go in the theater.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Or at least in some new way.
In some ways. So on that, what are you guys, you've had five shows so far, is that right? Trying to think. It's 5 or 6 that you've done so far?
I think, yeah, we're either at 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So episode 5. I think we just did 5.
So what have you learned so far? Sure
Oh my. Yeah. Be organized, label stuff. Check your output settings, check your, yeah, I've learned about, I'm definitely learning about pacing and storytelling and, and how to, I'm now about to launch my second, virtual choir piece, and in the process of getting it up to the point where it's like kind of a teaching portal and I can try to invite people in has been much less painful the second time around. So just like kind of templating out processes that we can try to use again, that's been a big learning curve. And then we're kind of trying to do that in lots of areas, is like, how do we create some ways for us to repeat, because we are trying to do a bunch of shows. How can we like make this process repeatable without doing the same thing again, but kind of doing the same thing again, Yeah,
I mean, it's sort of like you want to understand what sport you're playing, but then within that, you can pass the ball however you want. Like, we're playing soccer and this is how it goes. But within that, you have a different game every time.
Right. Like we've kind of developed some different modules of content, different, and they're interchangeable. Everyone doesn't have to be in every show, but we're kind of trying to, we can kind of use the workflow that we have established with one that works and apply that with a new subject or a new group of people or song, and that has been really helpful. So learning how to be creative by simplifying the workload has been my biggest learning curve for sure.
Yeah. Streamlining so you can go deeper. I appreciate that. I get that. Yeah. So you said to me once that here in the Valley is one of the purposes is to give a sense of ownership to the audience, the Upper Valley audience, and to the greater Vermont and New Hampshire communities. What do you mean by ownership?
Well, I envision this show being something that is both a showcase for regional and national talent that and can bring people to us here, and that we can collaborate with, creating some collaboration that way, and then also a platform for community art and collaboration in that way. And so the ownership piece is that I would like us to, it's kind of like the Upper Valley trying to make a show that's meant to interact with the world. It's meant to, it's for us and it's by us, but it's also to send out. And I think that there are, when I think of like Mountain Stage, I don't know if you're familiar with that show, but it's a show out of West Virginia, and the people, when you tour through West Virginia, they call it our NPR show, like that's their, and so I guess I envision something along those lines, that we like really like concentrate the really very deep well of talent that we have locally and regionally, and also use it as a way to interact with the world, the whole world out there, the interwebs,
Yeah. And people who come to visit, because this is, we get so many people who are coming for DHMC or for Dartmouth College or leaf peeping or skiing or to the theater. There's a lot of visitors that are coming from far away, and so that works for that too, to sort of introduce people to the region through an artistic venue, really.
And connect and give people just a way to meet each other, I guess, on that plane.
It's interesting. I lived in Minneapolis for a while, and you're right that like Prairie Home Companion definitely had people had a great sense of pride and a little bit of like the Minnesota, like, it's not a big deal, sense about that show. And that I think it did introduce the world to Minnesota, right?
Yeah. Definitely. Like in the quirkiness and
humor. Yeah.
Humor and not so much landscape, although there were a lot of descriptions of the lakes and the quiet and, things like that I think seep in, and you just get a sense of where these people are coming from and why they are the way they are.
I love it. So what about, I know you're from the Upper Valley, but what do you feel like makes this community a fertile ground for something like that?
Well, it's definitely a melting pot. There are just the kind of churning of people traveling through for the college and the hospital, like you were just saying, and and the growing tech world that's happening here, and also the kind of outdoor industry, and I guess I just feel like there is we have a sense of being both kind of rural and urban at the same time, know?
Yes. Yeah.
And I feel like that's a really special thing to me. So I think that being able to know both of those identities is just kind of unique. And so.
Yeah. And have you found, you're obviously, we haven't even talked about your music, which would be a whole other show, because I really did want to kind of focus on here in the Valley and your dreams for that. But and I know through your music, you're wildly connected to a lot of national and international musicians and people that you'd love to bring here, as well as performers that are from the region. What do you see in that synergy between people coming in and people who live here? Like what's to be gained there, do you think?
Well, inspiration is, is one thing. Just my time touring, there's just something that happens when you're on the road with a group of people, and the like tightness and depth that you can go into what you're working on, that I think it has an energy that when you come into a town and people are open to it, I just feel like it's kind of like a spark that can light some more fires, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I envision the idea of bringing in more national talent as a way to introduce artists who may not have an audience here yet to the Upper Valley, in a way that, if we're working and we can build an audience that trusts us, then I have a platform to bring people to that shows them in without struggle. They don't have to be here 10 times and take the financial investment that it takes to build up an audience in a new place. So that's the first thing, is that I can introduce people through this platform and help them build their audiences. And then the other would be to create some collaboration, and we're trying to host workshops and things like our choir events and things that we would like to use as platforms for outside artists to have some teaching opportunities too, which helps our whole music scene grow. We get some fresh perspective as artists, and then we're able to create in a new way too.
Right. And the community benefits from getting this infusion of different styles and skills and teaching modality, we're...
Yeah. And, there are other, we're also not trying to reinvent the book. There are, that's happening already at the Upper Valley Music Center. And it's really more about linking arms and connecting with the places that it's already happening, and trying to create more opportunities for people that are coming through, to say the Barnard Arts,
Easton Field
series, if we can, and the great thing about having this multimedia approach is we've discovered that we can do some things with pre-taping that would allow people to not even have to, we can pre-tape artists, we can do Zoom calls, we can do, we can use this kind of multimedia angle that came out of necessity because we didn't have a choice, but it actually could really open up this possibility of collaboration with a lot less risk than artists have had to take before.
Yeah.
So that's exciting to me, to kind of keep playing with how we can mix our virtual and analog worlds.
Yeah. It's great. And I think music does that really well. I think there's other things that, other art forms that maybe it's harder to do that kind of work, but music is, we're used to listening to music on the radio, or we're used to listening to it, in an analog way, or a digital way. So, and the experience is heightened when we get to do it in person, right?
Yeah. And one other thing that I've noticed is, we were kind of like, oh, do we want a taped thing? But when you watch an artist do a little video on your phone and it's this big, that's what it is. It's cool. You're like, yoo-hoo, that happened. But when you watch it on a big screen in a theater, it's pretty mesmerizing. So it's also kind of this moment of expanding reality into that realm too, it's fun to watch someone on a big screen. And so we're playing with that.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. And I love you and Jakob play traditional music, and then how it's like traditional music in the modern world, right? Taking advantage of those tools as well. So good.
Yeah. I would say we study traditional music and then we play our music.
That's right. Yeah.
We play some trad tunes, and it depends on who you ask, how far back you have to be going to say it's traditional.
Right. Yes. I certainly don't mean, you're not playing the fight or something, but
but yeah, we do try to stay rooted and but then we also are, I'm a songwriter. I don't listen to all the rules.
Right. So what do you think is one thing that our viewers can do to sort of bring more art or music or to, I'm trying to think that what you talk about in terms of like the sense of place and all of the resources that we have here in the Upper Valley to take advantage of, what would be the one thing that you would say, gosh, everybody, if you could just do this one thing, it would impact your life in a whole different way?
Well, I guess I can't, do I have to have one? Can I have two?
No, it can be one. That's fair.
I think, take in as much as you can around you. There's so much happening. The First Fridays in White River, even now, even in the like very reduced way that we are operating, Riff is projecting really cool, groovy things onto the sides of buildings on First Fridays, and people are playing music outside, and so yeah, take it in and listen to music and buy art and have it, surround yourself with it as much as you can, and then participate in it. That's the other part, is like be bad and like don't be afraid to make some bad art. So I have a friend at the printmaking studio who, what are you working on today? And she's like, oh, today's bad art day.
Oh, I love that.
Some days you just have to make some bad art, and there's so many people here to guide you. So if you have any interest in being a part of our show, we have lots of opportunities. And, whatever the medium is, it's never too late. It's always there for you.
Yes. I talk about this a lot, but, we're all asked when we're little to pick up a musical instrument or a crayon or, to be a part of a show. Or we all do that in our living rooms, right? That we put on shows for our parents or sing songs or that kind of thing. And then there just comes a point where people think, oh, I'm not supposed to do that anymore. But I think one of the biggest things that I've walked away from this show with is every single artist saying, no, it's okay. You can go back to that. Remember the joy you had and pick it up again and see what happens.
Yeah, totally. It's not an original idea, but the artists who are professionals have just not stopped.
Right.
That's really what it is. It's not a crazy talent bank. It's just perseverance.
They just kept holding on to that crayon.
That's right.
I love that. Well, Jes, like I said, I could talk to you for hours and haven't even touched on your music, which one day we'll do a show just dedicated to that. But thank you so much for the work that you're doing with Here in the Valley and bringing people together in such a unique and incredibly specific way that really, I think, is going to just have massive ramifications across the Upper Valley. Like I really see the vision. I think it's super cool. And I'm so on board.
Thanks, Amanda. I really appreciate that. And our next show is June 26th. I hope people can join us. And thank you so much. This was a total pleasure.
Oh, such a joy. And of course, you'll be able to go on to jesraymond.com or to Here in the Valley. And we'll post the links for that. And we're going to have a little bit of Here in the Valley to play us out. But for now, you've been watching Spark, the Upper Valley's Arts and Culture Show, and you are just listening to the fantastic Jes Raymond. Thank you for joining us. Come see us again.
But coming or going when sunlight hits those branches, you see that from a distance. They look just like second chances.